So on tours, I always like to just start in the chapel and kind of give you guys a sense of the history of Casa Hogar, how we kind of came about, and a little bit about our founder. So Father Joe Waliegeski is the founder of Casa. He was an amazing man. He dedicated his whole life to the missions. So while he was in seminary, he struggled a lot. I've actually been reading through his diary from when he was in seminary years, and he'd always talk about, I have an exam, and I hope I don't fail this one again, and he struggled a lot. And so he made a promise to God, and he said, if you let me find a diocese that'll accept me, that will ordain me, I will dedicate, I believe it was 3 years that he promised, of my life in service to the missions in Latin America. And so that promise, shortly after that, he was accepted by the Diocese of La Crosse, and he became ordained, and he told the bishop that from the start. He said, Bishop, I made this promise, I have to go serve abroad. And so he came and ended up dedicating his whole priestly life to service down he was in Ecuador for a few years, he was in Bolivia, where he started a parish that Father Keith will be going to after this trip, and then came to Peru. And so while he was in Peru, it was a really hard time for the country because there was a lot of terrorism and people just flooding into Lima, by the thousands. And so he actually just went to the mayor and said, I'll figure out something for these people. Just tell me the land and I'll establish a city with them. And so he was really instrumental in building the entire city that is now Villa El Salvador, which we'll be able to go in and do a little tour of. So he started the first parish there. He was the only person with a car, so he was the local, he was the priest, obviously. He was the emergency, everything, the fireman, the ambulance. He was just the go-to guy. So lived there with the people. And during his time there, he just saw that, the kids on the streets, it pulled at his heartstrings, and he knew that he had to do something about it. So I'll show you guys a video of him actually explaining the day that he decided he had to build Casa Hogar. But his demeanor in the whole time was just okay, here's the need. And he's okay, I know God's calling me to do it, so I guess I'll go build an orphanage now. Had no idea how, didn't have the money, wasn't really even getting his salary from either diocese. And he's just all right, I'll build an orphanage, and he did it. So he actually got the money. He was sent to Poland to meet with Pope John Paul II when he made his first trip back to his home country as Pope. And Father Joe was sent as the official representative of the Church of Peru. So he got private audience with the Pope, explained to him you gotta go see with your own eyes, see how alive the church is in Peru. And a few years later he came here, got to meet with him again, and that's when he kind of explained his whole vision and got the initial $50,000 to build the orphanage. And that's why we are called Casa Hogar Juan Pablo II after the Pope. So a couple things I just wanted to point out since we're in the chapel is obviously this whole picture is just amazing. And it was painted by a parishioner from Father Joe's parish from Villa El Salvador here in Peru. And he designed it just to try to show the kids here the beauty of Peru. Because for the most part, you've just seen Casa and you've seen the pretty green and the flowers and the birds. But outside of here, it's just a lot of sand, it's a lot of dirt, it's a lot of garbage. And so he was trying to show the kids, this is what your country has. It is a beautiful country. They have everything. They have the desert, they have jungle, everything, mountains. It's great. And so trying to teach the kids to be proud of what they have. You'll see the little kids, and usually I say this coming back from the airport, is in Peru, they don't have that many things in magazines or billboards or anything with Peruvian-looking people. And so that's why Father Joe said, he wanted these kids to look very, very Peruvian. That style hat even is just very traditional Peruvian, to show the kids, you are special, you are beautiful. Because everything that's thrown at them here in the culture is just America, white skin, blue eyes, that's beauty. And everything else is inferior. And that's just kind of what's taught them all the time. Even our girls will come up to me and ask me, they're why are the group members so much prettier than we are? And so it's constantly just flooding them. So yeah, that's Father Joe's idea, hey, look, this is what your country has, this is what your people are, you guys are amazing. And then you can see the picture is Our Lady of Częstochowa. And so she is from Poland, and very special to Father Joe because he's Polish. And what's neat is when Father Sebastian, our current director, when he first came here to visit the place, before he really knew much about it at all, walked in and saw Our Lady of Czestochowa. That's his home city. That's where he's from. And so for him, it was just such a huge, like, wow, okay, I guess I'm in the right place. Like, thanks, God. So, pretty neat. Yeah, so that's a little bit more about our history and everything. We have daily Mass here. We don't have it, it's not obligatory for the kids. It's come if you want to, come if you feel like God's calling you. And that's just kind of our approach because we don't want the kids to feel like they're forced into religion and things here. We want them to want it. And so our approach is really just to work a lot educating the family teachers, saying, if you teach the kids the importance of this, if you teach them that you're excited for it, like, hey, I want to go hear God's word today. I need that feeding me in the morning. Then the kids will automatically want to go too. And so you saw, we had a good crew this morning. And then everybody goes on Sundays. So we always have Mass here on Sundays, but we do ask the families to go out to the cathedral once a month, just because it's kind of different culture. It's good for them to have a sense of what Mass is like outside of Casa also. So just get them involved in the broader church as well. Any questions with any of that? Mm-hmm.
How are the children chosen to come?
I'll touch on that once we're downstairs more. Yeah, because it's kind of long. And
Where was this filmed?
1986, am I doing the math right?
That's
26 years ago. Yep. So. All right.
Well, I just learned something. I didn't know that he went to Bolivia and those other parishes first, and this was probably his last mission was here then.
You would think so, because he retired here. But Father Joe, being the amazing man he was, he retired, he moved to the jungle, and then he's like, well, I'm going to build a retirement home. So in his retirement, he built a retirement home. So just incredible. And I should mention, let's see, it's almost a year and a half ago, I guess, Bishop Callahan came down, and he heard all about Father Joe and everything. And he decided to open up his case for sainthood. So if you guys didn't know that, we are in the process of that. Kind of hold up waiting for Rome right now. But yeah, so we're working on it.
Matt Marshall became sick, really, really sick.
Yeah.
Bishop Callahan put out a request to all the parishes of across diocese to pray for Matt Marshall, and especially asking for the intercession of Jose Walieski and for his healing. And
Yeah, Matt Marshall was a seminarian, is a seminarian, who was down here on a mission trip 2 years ago. 2 years ago?
With you guys.
2 years ago. And so he just got really bad heart condition. And I mean, the doctors told his family, best case scenario, he'll blink. Like, they thought, brain dead for life, really. And I mean, he's totally fine. He woke up and the first thing he said was, can I still become a priest? So I mean, he's fine.
But
So.
part of the story was that his brainwave activity was seriously diminished for 3 days. And then on the fourth day, he started to respond. And the nurses were crying and astonished, and all the doctors came in and looked and tried to figure out what was going on with this. They'd never seen anything like it. So
Yeah,
There's a lot of prayers that, because I know these are prayers in our parish.
yeah.
It's really cool.
Yeah, really neat.
and now he's got a pacemaker.
Yeah. But he's doing awesome, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
His nickname is Lazarus at the seminary.
Cute. It's true, it's fitting. So, all right, cool. We can just meet right outside. So, looks like a lot of people are out of their offices right now, so let's kind of tell you who is in them, and you'll get to meet them throughout the week. So, the first office here is mine. So I'm Director of Development. I do all sorts of marketing stuff in the U.S., presentations, benefit dinners, that sort of thing. And then here, my main focus is on volunteer groups, and they're both that come from the States and local groups here in Peru. And then our sponsorship program, we have different sponsors. We have 2 programs now. One when it's somebody can sponsor an individual child, and so they get letters from that child. And another program where it's called Family to Family, and that one's new this year. And the idea is just to get more of a sense of what family life is like at Casa. And so then the family teachers write, they sit down with the kids and kind of tell about what's their day like, and that sort of thing. So those are our 2 programs, and that's just a lot of Spanish, English, English, Spanish translation. So it's not like you have to write or speak Spanish to be in it. But yeah, so that's my main job. The next office is Jenny. She's our administrator. So you guys have heard of Project Milk. Ton of paperwork and all that crazy stuff involved, both stateside and Peru. And so Jenny's like amazing. I love that girl. She does all the hard work for us. And she's been with Casa for a long time. Lots of times she's in her office till 10 at night. Just very, very dedicated worker. Great girl. The next office is Rigoberto. He is a psychologist. He came to Casa first as our psychologist, and then he took on the role, let's see, how long ago now? Just like 3 months ago, less than, he became program director. And so if we picture Casa as a school, the family teachers are the teachers, he's the principal. And so he just he does all the interviews for new employees, he does the training. The family teachers have a 2-week training course. And so in those 2 weeks, we just try to give them the best sense we can of the job. A lot of people ask, how long do the teachers stay? It's like, well, it all depends. We have some who have been here for 9 years, another couple for 7 or 8 years. We have others who come and go within a number of months. And so that 2-week training period is super important. We try to just tell them exactly as it is. Here's what's going to be hardest about the job. Here's what's going to be most rewarding. If your heart's not in it, don't stay. So as much as it'd be great to, have everybody on a year contract, it's like if they're not 100% in it, if they're not treating our kids and really seeing them as their own, then they're out, because they gotta love them like they're their own kids. It has to be a vocation. I love working here, but I could never ever be a family teacher. I couldn't do it for a day. So we're really, really blessed for the teachers that we have. Within the program, we also have assistant family teachers. And so they help out when the couples have days off. They kind of fill in. And then it also just helps with transition for the kids. That way, if a family teacher leaves, they're already comfortable and used to talking, working with somebody else. They have that confidence built up. And it's not so hard for them to switch between the 2. So, yeah.
I have a question about that. When you say family teacher, in my mind, I'm thinking of a school teacher type person, or is that like a second job, being a teacher, or
no?
Or you're just saying like?
Yeah, they're just the title is family teacher, but it's more like parent. So it's like, yeah.
Okay.
Exactly. And each family varies. Some just call them maestro. They just call them teacher. Some call them mom and dad. It always kind of depends on the child and their relationship with them. But this is their full-time job. They can't have a job outside of here. And for the couples, it has to be both. The dad and the mom are working here full-time. It's super important for us, just in the culture of Peru, to have that father figure. It's just so lost here in Peru. And a lot of the kids only have a negative image of males in general. And so just being able to see, this is what a solid marriage looks like, this is how you work together, this is how you raise a family, just really helps the kids. You learn what you live. And so try to give them that example.
So are they all Peruvian?
Yep. That's another thing we try to do. We don't want to come across as, okay, here's this great American institution, now we're going to change and fix your culture. So we try our best to keep as many Peruvian staff as we can. So let's see, as far as employed staff, yeah, Father Sebastian and I are the only 2 non-Peruvian. So, wow, that's crazy, yeah. That's new. Usually program staff, we've always had an American, but yeah, I'm it, I guess. So, yeah.
And then you have some volunteers like you were right now.
Yep. We have 2 volunteers here right now. So Amy for another week, and then Michael is here for 2 months. A lot of times we have like 2 to 3 month volunteers that'll come during the summer. And so their role is just a lot of helping out in the families, taking the kids to school, picking them up, helping with English homework. All the schools teach English, but it's kind of like they'll have to translate this entire paragraph and then answer questions about it, and they don't understand the word paragraph or word or translate. Or it's a joke, really. So they need a lot of help. Yeah. Any other questions? Okay, we can come straight down the stairs again. A lot of doors, but I'll explain what they all are. So we have different storage room and stuff for our kitchen and all the food, so here and there. A lot of the food that we get here is donated. So we have Project Milk, obviously, which works really well because we can use that to trade. So there's some orphanages that have farms, and so they can trade us, fresh vegetables for milk because they don't have milk, or eggs and that sort of a thing. And then we also get a lot from Canada. It's called a program called Food for Children, and they send about 4 containers each year. So we're talking like a semi full of stuff. And so that could be food or clothes or anything like that. So that helps us out too. And anytime that we get donations, if there's a ton of one thing, we try to do our best to share it with the other orphanages in town. There's a soup kitchen just like right, a couple blocks away from us. And so we, try to share the wealth and make sure that we can help as many people as possible. You'll see during the week, hey Bambi! This is Bambi, our chef. He's awesome. Yeah, this is Adolfo Bombaren. Yeah, so he's known as Bambi. He does a wonderful job of just using all the donated food, being creative with it, making really good meals, and always plans it out, make sure that the kids get the right amount of meat and veggies, and just very, very responsible with it. So, and he likes to speak English when he can, so help him out. He's fun. This here, I'll just kind of let you guys each take a peek in there. This is our almacén, so our storage room, and that's where we keep all the donations that are clothing or school supplies, that sort of thing. The schools here really give the kids absolutely nothing. And so a little 7-year-old will come with their 3-page school supply list. And so we have to supply absolutely everything for them. So, and a lot of that stuff we have to buy because it has to be, specific for whatever they need here at the schools. A lot of it is donated as well. So the clothes, you'll notice, the kids are pretty well dressed. It's almost all donated. So we really, really rely on groups like you guys and the other ones that come throughout the year. Some local groups too from parishes will come and bring donations of clothing for them. So helps a lot. All the kids have uniforms. So we have to buy all those here in town, and then that's a good thing about having all sorts of ages. It's kind of goes just like in my family. I'm the youngest, so I got nothing new. It's all of my sister's things, so same deal here. Try to reuse as much as we can. The kids each have their own notebook where they keep track of everything they get from the almacén. And so in that way, let's say it's the first week of school and we give them all their school supplies, and 2 weeks later they come back and they're like, okay, I need this and this and this. And we say, okay, well, what happened to yours? And so it just teaches them, it's easy for a kid to go in there and see all this stuff and think, oh, okay, we have plenty. And it's no, everything that we have because somebody donated it, because somebody's making a sacrifice for us. And so just teaching them that responsibility really helps. So I'll let everybody kind of just take a peek in. This is Lupe. She's in charge of the storage. So you can see all the school supplies here, all the games and that kind of thing we use for birthday presents and all of that, and then all of the clothes over here. So I'll let you guys kind of peek in. I think it's this one. This is our maintenance repair shop. He's our maintenance man, so he's the go-to guy for everything. He'll be helping us out with our project too. So daycare for employees' kids, new. So yeah.
Who does that?
I don't know her name, which is awful. Wow. La señora. Classroom up here, so I was saying, that we do the course, and so that's where we have that. We also have catechism classes for the kiddos. We have a volunteer here from Poland who teaches all of them. So they do receive catechism in school as well, but then we do it here too. So that's what we use.
You said before catechism?
It's for the class for the family teachers.
Oh, okay.
We teach them. All right.
Hi, everybody.
This is our beloved doctor. He's awesome. He speaks English perfectly. So.
Well, she's very nice. I'm not beloved. I love them. Okay. Welcome. And I hope you enjoy your stay here. As long as you may.
Thanks,
okay,
doctor.
I'll see you.
Bye-bye.
And welcome back. Yes.
Thanks. You can see the main kitchen. We have full-time kitchen staff during the week and on weekends. So the family teachers are not in charge of cooking for the families.
Oh, okay.
How it works is before we switched to this family model, which we switched to in 2000, it was more, Father Joe always had the idea if he wanted it to be like a family, but he didn't really have the program, he didn't have the house space and all that. And so each family would have their table. So they come and all eat here in the comedor. Now we don't use the dining room as much. We use it for groups and things like that. On Friday, like we'll have a big ceremony, award ceremony. So anything like big community events, we use it. Otherwise, each family, you can see their big pots. So they just come, the kitchen staff dishes out for all of them, and then they bring all the food back and have family lunch, family dinner, which is huge to these kids, because I just did interviews with them about 6 months ago, and I asked them, what's your favorite part about living here? What do you like about living with your family? And a ton of them of all ages said family dinner. So that's so important to come home from, end of a long day at school, and you can tell somebody how your day was, and they actually care and they ask. That's really huge for them. And so now when I'm working back in the U.S., it's something I always try to reinforce, just because it's lost or losing it in our culture as well. So really important for the kiddos. You can see down this hallway we walked past 2 doors. First one is dentist office, and so we do have a dentist that comes in one morning a week, and so she takes care of all the basic things. If the kids need anything else like orthodontic work, we go into Lima, but she can take care of just regular cleaning. Second one is laundry room. Right now, luckily, we've had an extended summer, so during the summertime, the kids wash their own clothes by hand, which hopefully they'll be able to teach you. They're really good at it, and most Americans, including myself, are really bad at it. So I'm like, oh yeah, it's clean, and the kids are like, oh no. But it's kind of fun. And so the laundry room we usually use in the winter time. Traditional winter, is just overcast, very, very humid. You can leave clothes out for a week and they'll never dry. And so that's when we can kind of use the laundry and things more. This here is the nurse's office. So we have a full-time nurse Monday through Friday. And so we can take care of a lot of the kids' needs here. And then a doctor comes in 3 mornings a week. So anything more serious, hospital, that kind of thing, we can take the kids into Lima. But we can take care of the vast majority of things right here at Casa. Yeah, I wanted to mention that we have medical missions and that sort of thing here. So once every other year we switched it to. It used to be every year we would have a surgical medical mission. So that one travels, it's hosted at different hospitals throughout Peru, and we'd focus on ear, nose, throat, and eye surgeries. And that's just focused for anybody in the community. If there's any kids at Casa who need surgeries, it's usually just like 2 or 3 maybe that would go, and the rest is just for the broader community. Here at Casa, every other year we host an eyeglass mission. So that's for our neighbors, and you'll get to see the community. We have a lot of neighbors who are really in need, and so they can come, they get free eye exam, they get free pair of glasses. For a lot of them, it's the first time they've ever worn glasses in their life. So it's really neat, and we always host that during the summer so that all the kids are here and the kids are helping. Just because we teach them, maybe you don't have money to give, maybe you don't have material things, but like you can help, you can serve others, and so we really try to reinforce that with the kids. So.
When you're saying summer, you're talking like November, December, January?
Right, yeah, starting December, January, February. Eye mission is always the second or third week of January. Open. This is our social worker. So somebody had asked before, how do the new kids come? Well, this is all Senora Sierra's job. So she has been with the orphanage since Father Joe founded it, so 26 years now. Extremely valuable employee because she just has all this knowledge in her head. She knows, the situation of Peru in the past, in current, present day, everything. So each kid has their own story, and we'll be able to kind of talk more about that. I'll bring some examples of, what history the kids might have had to some of our reflection times. But each kid has a different story, and so we have to work with each family individually. Some main differences between Peru and the U.S. One, we don't have foster care system. And so for a lot of families, when the situation gets hard and maybe their kids are going to foster care system, we don't have that here. So they go into an orphanage. Also, losing a job means for a lot of these people, they can't take care of their kids. For us, you can find a sibling or a parent or somebody to help. But for them, a lot of families will have to send their kids to an orphanage just for a short period of time. Let's say a year or 2, and then they kind of get back on their feet, and then they take them back again. So what Senora Sierra is looking for are the kids who really don't have another option. The majority of kids, once they come into Casa, which is usually between 3 to 12 years old, they don't leave until they're 17. So if, for some reason, the family situation improves, it's not like we say you can never go back to your family. No. Of course, that's the ideal. But just the reality is the majority of kids who come here stay here until they're 17. So she works a lot with the community. Sometimes it can be neighbors that kind of say, hey, I noticed some goofy things going on in the house. Sometimes it's actual family who just says, hey, like, I want to love and take care of my family, but I know I can't. I can't give them what's best. So sometimes it's the actual family that comes. Sometimes it's the local priest. Some cases it's actually court order where we have legal guardianship of the kids. So it all depends on their individual story. Mm-hmm.
Do the parents, the biological parents of the kids, ever come visit the kids?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So we try to keep in contact with the families as much as we can. So, yeah, they're not all true orphans. A lot of people think orphanage, all orphans, no family. No, the majority of the kids are known as social orphans, which just means that there's problems in the family. It can be extreme poverty, it can be drug addiction, that kind of a thing, where they cannot take good care of them. And so, but then, we work with the families. If it's a safe situation, we encourage them to come visit. The kids also have salidas, like weekends when they can go and visit with their family. A lot of times that'll be with like aunt or uncle, grandparents, older siblings, any connection that they have outside of Casa Hogar, we try to keep that strong family connection still for them. Because once they leave, then oftentimes that's who they're going to be living with after the orphanage. So. Any questions with all of that? Mm-hmm.
When they leave, it's like they reach a certain age they leave, or
Right. Yep, it's 17. It's 17. No, not at all. Not at all. 17, they don't live physically here. We have what's called our senior planner program, and so that starts, Francisco, the younger guy who was driving the truck last night, he's in charge of it. And so it starts when the kids are 15, and similar to in high school, when we do like the different amplitude tests and, what do I want to do in the future, maybe do some job shadowing, it's all that kind of a program for the kids. The more traditional orphanage in Peru usually has different like talleres, workshops, where they teach the kids woodworking or sewing or cooking, and then that's kind of, giving them a step up and, okay, this is what you can go into. It's awesome because it's helping them find a job, and that's great. What we do more is focus on, okay, but each person is called to something different. We each have our vocation, and if we don't really search and try to figure out prayerfully what God's calling us to do in life, we're never really going to reach the highest level that we can. So that's why we believe in working with each kid individually and say, well, what do you want to do? What are you called to do? What are your strengths? What are your interests? And so some of the kids go on to college. Some of them go just more to like a 2-year school. Some of them start working right away. A lot of the kids, when they graduate at 17, they're not done with high school yet. Because when they come in, we've had kids who come in 10, 12 years old who have never gone to school before. And so, if they're a few years behind, then they still graduate from Casa at 17, but then they have to finish their high school years. So we stay in really close contact with all of our graduates. If they are continuing their school, we keep paying for it. If they're going to college, we help pay the vast majority of their tuition, and then they have to have a job and be putting their own money and investment into it as well. So it's really an individual basis, though, that we work with each of them. Questions? Okay, cool. We'll go this way. Oh, all the trophies are from soccer. Soccer is huge here. You'll see. The 4 doors up top are the 4 families of girls. So each family, like I said, 8 girls. And the reason it's separated by girls and boys, number one, that's how it is in Boys Town. And like I said, we model everything after Boys Town. Also, just space-wise, we only have 1 bedroom in each of the apartments where there's bunk beds. So then obviously it's girls and boys separate. What's neat, though, is there's a lot of community just between all the families. And so if, say, a brother and a sister come in, it's not like, oh, I don't get to live with them, therefore I don't get to see them. No, and we even focus on that a lot, making sure that biological siblings, if they're in separate families, get to spend time together. If it's sisters or brothers, they're always put into the same family when they come into Casa. So these 2 offices here are for the directors of the communities. So we have 1 for the girls' community, 1 for the boys' community. So I said before, the other office up top is Rigoberto, the program director. So it's kind of like the principal. These 2 are kind of like the counselors for the family teachers. If they have a problem, if they have a question, they can go to them. They do all the scheduling and that kind of thing. So they're awesome employees. They were actually family teachers for, I believe, 9 years before they took over this role. So very, very educated in the program and a lot of experience. So up here is an auditorium. So we just have a TV and some benches. So the families are not divided out by age. It's all mixed, just like a regular family would be. And so a lot of times what you find are the older boys here watching soccer, the little kids and their families watching cartoons, that kind of thing. Little space that we just walked through there is kind of just multi-purpose room. We've had different groups come and do like art activities with the kids and foosball table, that kind of thing. Here is pretty green area. A lot of people say like, wow, it's so pretty here. And we really try to do our best at keeping the green space green. It's important for the kids to just have that, it's just energizing. And it's also, when I first got here, I was kind of confused by that. I'm like, okay, orphanage, green grass, like, is it really all that necessary? And there's a little kid, he's not here anymore, but he was like 4 years old, and he taught me like the best lesson I've learned down here. Because he thought that it was so beautiful, everything. So he would, like, anybody that he saw come, any visitors, even if he didn't know them, he'd grab a piece of grass and he'd, like, run over to them with a huge smile and be like, here you go, here's a present for you. And, like, it was the most beautiful thing for him. And then I went and visited the community that he had come from, and it's just, he lived in the fruit market area, which is one of the most dangerous zones of Lima. It's just dirt and garbage and scary, dangerous, and for him, it's got to be hard. These kids, even if they're little, they know they're leaving their family, they know they're living in an orphanage. As much as we try to, bring this community of family, they still somewhere know it. And so for them to be able to be proud of this place and to invite their friends from school back here and say, yeah, you can come play soccer at my house, it's really important for them to see it as beautiful and to be proud of living here. So, we do teach the kids then that, like, they got to take care of it. So each family has their zone that they clean up every day where they have to do, like, their community work. And so really just teaching them ownership and everything. Yep. Nope. Just come to visit. A lot of times you'll see them playing either soccer or volleyball games and that kind of thing. So, yeah. We can go over this way then. One of our volunteer groups, Father said that Katie was in it. This used to be like this huge, like, big slant hill, and they leveled it all out, so we have more play area here. So you guys can take advantage of the play area. So you can see the huge soccer field over here, and beyond it is the ongoing garden project. We're always trying to get that garden going, and what we just did is we're working on building a well, and so then with the well we'll have a whole irrigation system. So we're hoping to get more garden going so we can, grow our own vegetables and that sort of thing. So it's a project of ours. Smaller soccer field here, volleyball, both very popular. And then what we have over here, just the swings and teeter-totters. My project that's, like, near and dear to my heart because I love little kids with good imaginations. And for, like, the younger ones here, like, if they're not really into sports, we really don't have that much outside stuff for them to play with. So I've been wanting to build something. My newest idea is a pirate ship. So that's, like, my project for next summer. I really, really want to do it. And so we'll see. We had to get some of these projects, like we're doing, the bridge and the fence, some of these more essential ones done, and then hoping to get more stuff for the kiddos. So when I'm back in Wisconsin, I'll be fundraising for it and everything. So you guys will hear more. But that's the idea. Pirate ship is cool. I think that's...
Be the captain, matey.
I know. Wouldn't it be fun? I'm really excited. I think that's about it for now. There's the gruta, it's called, the grotto. Father Joe is buried up there, up the hill. So, well, yeah, we can walk over here so you guys can see it. You can see up there's a whole road going up. We'll have plenty of time to go up there. We actually have to finish painting the handrails at some point too in this week. So that's where Father Joe is buried, and you can see the statue of Mary. There's a great mirador, like a lookout point. You can see the ocean's only like a 20-minute walk, so you can see the ocean from there and everything. You can see the whole town. So yeah, I think that's about it. Any questions? Anything I missed?
Stay here, they don't. Is adoption not legal?
Adoption's complicated. Number one reason is because the families have to give up all rights to the children. For a lot of the families, and it sounds bad to say it, but they see their kids growing up here and they see their potential for future advancement, and they think, oh, so then my kid can give me money, so I'm not going to give up my rights to them. Even though they know they cannot provide for them, they cannot give them anything in the future, they see benefit for it in themselves and they don't want to do that. Exactly. Yep. And so the sponsorship, all the money that is raised through the sponsorship program goes exactly right to that child. It's not just like a general fund. No, like it goes to that child. So, yeah. I can get you more details about sponsorship program for sure. We'll talk about that some night too. But another reason why Another reason why adoption, we don't really focus on that is just because we want to show the kids, like, you can have a good future here. Like, you can build your own good future in your own country. We don't want them to kind of have this vision of, like, oh, maybe someday I'll get adopted. Because that almost creates, like, a negative feeling then for the kids who don't. It's really hard for them. And also, you know, it's just kind of this waiting for something better to come versus saying, no, like, we have the power, you know, to advance, so.
It's a lot different to have orphanages, like you're saying, because they're social. Versus a traditional.
Yep, exactly. So, all right, I think we're good.